So, Malik, obviously for you, one of a very small group, not small, but one of few returning wide receivers in the group, you being one of the older guys in the locker room now, and a lot of new guys came in, whether it's transfers or freshmen. What do you make of your role this year so far as like a senior and one of the older guys amongst the guys?
Yeah, just being the guy, that came back. I'm in the system longer than they have, and whatever questions, pointers, coaching tips that I learned from Coach Ward last year, I could just be his voice on the field, to the receivers.
What do you make now being back for camp? How you feeling after a successful season in a big way for you guys? You had a big game as well in the college football playoff to kind of out the season too. How did that kind of fuel you for this year and kind of getting into fall camp now?
Man, I feel like the momentum off of last year, it was good, and we know we can do it. We got the guys to do it. But it's just like, how do we tap back into that? Like, how do we respond to our success when we have failures that come too, and nobody wanted us to see last year. So it's like we had that upfield battle, but now it's like me versus me, us versus us, and it really starts here on the practice field.
Anything that you were doing differently this offseason to kind of tap into that portion of it, though, of like, hey, like, we got to be the motivators of ourselves, not having the outward motivation of guys being like, y'all aren't supposed to be good to kind of make it all happen?
Yeah, for sure. This is a very, I would say, like, self-motivated offseason that I've had myself, especially last year. I feel like I had stuff to work on, like motivation, mentally, like in the playbook, off-field stuff, that knickknacks here and there that I learned, So, yeah, I just try to look over everything and pursue everything.
For you being one of the staple wideouts in this group now and getting a lot of the first team time, what do you make of your own development as a player this year and kind of things you want to achieve for yourself going into the season?
Man, I just want to help us win, bro. Like, whatever I can do to help this team win, that's it. Like, I know I'm very accountable. I'm doing my job. If I mess up my job, that's one person just mess up the whole play. So I don't want to be that guy. So whatever I do to make this team win, that's what I'm gonna do.
So for you now, going back up to Camp T in a week or so, how excited are you to get back up to Payson and kind of experience all that all over again?
Man, low-key, I love it up there. I'm kind of from the country, so like just being out there in the woods and stuff, it kind of brings me back to my roots. And I feel like I'm more rooted out there, just in the trees and a different environment, So I'm happy.
Coach was talking about how every year you guys have done this hike up to the top of the mountain and then leave a note to yourself or about the team or whatever up there in the time capsule. I don't know if you know your note or want to talk about it, but do you have any recollection of like what your goal was, and if so, like, did you feel like you kind of accomplished what you set out to achieve last year?
Yeah, I mean, my note really wasn't anything football related. It was more of a me and my family thing. But I'm definitely happy that I wrote it down, and I get to go see what my mindset was last year around the same time.
Coach seemed like that was a really important thing for you guys too, not even just on the field stuff, but off the field and improving as men and as leaders and that kind of stuff. So for you, how does that kind of stuff help the team feel like they can gel together and bond over this week of kind of getting super close before a really grueling season up ahead?
Yeah, Coach always harps about being a good person, being kind to others, not thinking about yourself, not being selfish. And, you get around a bunch of people who have the same mindset as that, how much fun, how much stuff can you do, collectively, as a group, So, just being around the guys, and we all had the same mindset on that. It's just it's fun. We can do whatever. Everybody can do whatever they want.
What do you think is the biggest goal for you that you want to accomplish over the course of the rest of fall camp? You got about less than a month or so before the season starts. So anything over camp that you want to achieve for yourself going forward?
Let's see. I think just stamina, confidence, just the basics. Just working, putting in the work, knowing that I worked on it, and having that confidence in my mind that I did it in camp. So when season comes, it's that's what I'm falling back on when I'm tired. What I did in camp. When I get dead tired in the game, what I did in camp, I did it 15 times every practice. So building a mind callus almost.
Then for you, then last question about expectations. This year is going to be very different from last year with the weight you guys have, or how media is going to perceive you, and what the outside noise is going to be like. So for you as an individual and for the team, what would you say would make a quote-unquote successful season for you guys, whether it's about wins or about you reaching personal goals or anything like that?
A successful season for us is having fun. Because if you have fun, 9 times out of 10 you're winning. 9 times out of 10, you're not just winning, you're really spanking people. Like, if you're having fun during the season, like, what are you, you're not doing nothing wrong. So you're not mad at anything. Like, if we have fun this year, like, the sky's the limit. Simple.
All right, my man. Thanks so much for your time.